This is the last patch of 2020. Hopefully we only get good patches from 2021 onwards because, come on, it can't get worse than this year, right? Hey guys, welcome back to another TFT video. Today we're going to be looking into patch 10.25 and going through the interesting changes that Riot has made, as well as making some predictions on how our experts think the meta is going to shake out. 10.25, as expected, is not too big. A few things changed, relatively small ones as well, going off the huge changes that we saw in 10.24, especially in the system. This patch is trying to bring those outliers a bit closer, trying to fix the things that felt bad, like the roll odds at some levels, as well as bring some new quality of life changes that I know that you're gonna like. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop in and see what Riot has in store for the patch before Christmas. And for our question of the day, what is your favorite change in this patch and why is it the champion selling after Carousel 1? Keep in mind that the predictions made in this video are exactly that. Predictions. They are subject to change and we will be definitely keeping you updated in our mid-patch update. Feel free to share any comments below giving us your feedback, especially if you have something new to add or you disagree with what we predicted. We'll be happy to read them. If anything is pulled from the original PvE changes or added in, you can find them in the info in the comments as well about what ended up not making it to the live servers. But before we dive right on in, I just want to let you guys know that we have a Discord community and new subreddit that is growing really fast. We have all of you to thank for that and we really want to continue building our community and helping you become a part of it. Make sure you check the link in the description down below. Base roll odds at 7 were a bit too nerfed last time, especially in combination with the player damage increasing. Thus, it's a little bit more likely that you get 4 costs there, and it feels terrible if you actually have to roll down and recover. Battling hopelessness one patch at a time is Riot. Not a bad change, as it allows for loss streaking a little bit more, as well as combats unlucky openers if you play it right. Next up is a great quality of life change. Finally they did something about the carousel full bench bug, which while it wasn't that big of a deal for the player, apparently it was pretty buggy for Riot. I've actually had it happen to me. Selling a champion during combat brought out one of my in-game champions and actually lost me the trade synergy. So, you know, that was fun losing my win streak. Not too impactful of a change, but it means that TFT gets more and more polished and with less secret or incomprehensible playstyle and loopholes, making every entry into the game easier and easier. It's pretty great. That's it. The rest of the system changes are fine apparently, so we're moving on to the traits. Trait changes. A few pruning changes this patch, hopefully adding some things to the meta. Divine was doing great as evidenced in our must-play video, and I really hope you got to play it because it's getting a small nerf. Shouldn't make it unplayable by any means, but it might fall off the must-play list. Vanguards get some interesting changes all around. They are buffed across the board, and especially the gold and chase trait armor values are pretty huge. Mage gets slightly buffed, as there have been no reasons to go for the golden trait ever. The small buff shouldn't really make it into an insanely better comp, but it might not feel as bad. Alderwood also gets a small buff at the bronze and gold traits, as they have been feeling pretty weak at bronze and gold, especially in the late game, where fights can only last a few seconds. It's a small buff, but it will definitely make it more rewarding when you're pigeonholed into it. Not too many changes, aiming at balancing the scales just a little. The true meat is with the champions though, so let's go ahead and take a look. Lots of champion changes this patch, small but must be significant enough to switch some perception about which champion is strong or not. Let's go ahead and start with the 1 costs. Diana keeps getting nerfed in her 4-star form. Another orb bites the dust as she continues to be impressive on the field. Hopefully this doesn't kill her, and I don't think it will. Makai will be more of a tank, getting some tanky stats. The poor tree was getting felled instantly, especially if 1-star early in the game. With some extra stats and Elderwood being a bit stronger early, we might be looking at another decent opener, somebody that you could branch into. Lysandra has been doing a little bit too much damage when 3-star and 4-star, getting a 50 damage nerf in both incarnations. This should not diminish her strength over much, but combined with the reduced Diana strength, it doesn't really bode too well for Moonlight. Fiora gets some more love, less mana for her ult, and significantly more damage. Chosen Fiora might actually be a decent pick now. Hey, you know Wukong is in the game? Yeah, besides the first couple of patches, he has kind of been missing. Well, he's getting buffed and more decently so, and he's gonna operate a lot better with AD items as they up that ratio on that spell. Much better early game, and with the buff to Vanguards, we should be able to see him more. 2 costs. Aphelios loses some of his oomph that he got last patch, dropping his AD back down a little bit since he got a bit too strong in certain situations. Jarvan was casting a little bit too much, knocking the whole team up in the process, so he's getting a base mana nerf. He's gonna be casting both his first spell slower, but every subsequent one slower as well. Vi changes her approach up a little bit. She casts faster but has less armor penetration as a result of that, so she doesn't really end up too broken. Sylas gets a small buff to both his 3-star and 4-star forms, helping out Moonlight a little bit as he could be more a viable alternative to Lysandra. Hecarim casts a little bit faster, which is great. As well with the rest of the Elderwood changes, the Force people are actually going to be a little bit better at 10.25 overall. 3 costs. Hey, Shin got another buff. This is geared towards his attack capabilities, giving him more base attack speed and spell damage. He's getting kind of scary, not gonna lie, and this also makes him scale a lot more with AD and less with stars, as the AD ratios between his forms are really close together. Kallista's attack speed was out of hand, especially with couples of duelists in. It gets a little bit more in line now, especially given how strong cultists can be currently. Lux usually casts once per fight. Getting her chosen didn't really change that, and she was getting the mana reduction trait, so they changed it to AP. If she's gonna cast one, it's gonna be a big fat binding. Evelyn gets to do a little bit less execute damage, but the damage on her spell is increased a little bit to compensate. Overall, this is a good change as she relied a little bit too much on low health to do decent damage. Yuumi gets some more HP, making her quite a bit tankier, zooming around and healing your team. Nothing better than a fatter cat, I guess. 4 costs. Talon gets some love back since honestly he got completely gutted last patch. This could trigger a return but not a triumphant as he was once before. Warwick gets the much deserved nerf to his healing, which combined with the divine nerf should calm him down a little bit. Legendaries. Kayn gets a small nerf, and that doesn't really do anything to him, but it will hopefully put him more in line with the rest of the legendaries. Set still uses his spell on invulnerable, unstoppable, and other types of targets, and the spell doesn't really flop anymore. Yes, the primary target will be unaffected, but the landing secondary damage will be there, based as normal on the grab target's health. This helps Set become more reliable and overall a better plug-and-play legendary. That's it with the champion changes. Quite a few changes, or we should say a few nudges. A couple of quality of life stuff, with not much seemingly changing comp-wise, but playing flexible became a lot more interesting. This is because previously useless units might be a little bit more worth playing now, like Fiora. Item changes. Only one item changed this patch as well, same as 10.24, and this time it's Last Whisper's turn. It now shreds armor a little bit more, which can be a response to the Vanguard buff to halt any ideas towards a tank meta. We mentioned flexible play got buffed, didn't we? Well, flexible play focuses on not committing to a comp until a big roll down at level 8. This is because of the level 7 changes to rolling odds, which makes it possible to roll down at 7 if not as good as 8. And the buffs to champions like Fiora and Xin Zhao make them better at transitionary units. So, what does this all mean? It means that when you get to roll down or look for ways to get stronger until you roll down, you now have more options from the shop, resulting in more impactful shops every single turn. All of this is fairly small, as no big changes happened this patch, with the biggest one being Fiora of all units. Still, adjustments have been made for those that you might want to play flexibly. Comp predictions. Elderwood is going to be a little bit better, obviously. It is clear that Riot wants to push this trait a little bit more this patch, as it's been underperforming quite a little bit. We still don't think it's something that you should force or opt into without perfect items, but it can be a stronger opener now with all the buffs to the trait and units that they received in the last 2 patches. Vanguards can be a little bit more of a trait now. In the early game, they are not buffed too much, and with the damage remaining primarily magic, they are still probably struggling. However, a Vanguard chosen going into 4 or 6 Vanguards, or even a Vanguard spatula on a good carry that needs the defense, will definitely be a route that you can take now. It may not be optimal, but hey, you'd be laughed out of the building before, whereas now it's probably just going to be a little bit viable. Duelists might see some strengthening, especially with the Xin Zhao buffs, and it should come to a change of the playstyle to Fiora chosen early, or even a non-Yasuo duelist start and going into a comp after you finish chosen Xin Zhao. Duelists will find it hard to get past these new Vanguards though. Divine has been nerfed and Warwick has as well, but it's not too much of a nerf and they should still continue to be a strong comp and worth playing. The slow roll Divine Jax comp might actually be better in the early game now with Wukong buff and the buff to Fiora, which usually would add the early aid to Jax with Duelist. Overall, more options seems to be unlocking, as we already said, and we can't wait to see what else is awaiting us in this patch. That's gonna be it for this video. This patch honestly didn't change much, but we should be gearing up for set 4.5 in January. Can't wait to leave 2020 behind and embark on a new Fates adventure. Remember to stay safe and thanks for tuning in. Let us know which comp you think will dominate in 10.25, and if you want to get better at TFT, visit ProGuides.com where you can find a challenger coach that will help you reach your dream rank. With all that being said, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.